TikToker, not a TikToker, but a person that works at TikTok that's making over $400,000 a year. I seen this pop up on my algorithm. Y'all didn't even send me this one, but I had to go and react to it. I had to go and get it. Let's get to it.
We are all imperfect, but you can try to do it all. You can have a job at a big tech company. You can be a working mom. You can have friendships and you can work out. It's all about time management and finding the balance. While you're doing all this, you may not be perfect, but don't feel like you have to choose one over the other. My name is Sora Lee. I'm 34 years old. I make about $400,000 a year.
All right, so hold on. Let me say this before we get into this. Somebody asked me, they sent me an email and they said, Anton, would you ever be on CNBC's Make It? I was like, what's the benefit? What's the marketing opportunity that comes along with that? Because, I already share my receipts with everybody. I show my bank accounts. I show y'all my 1099s. I show y'all my whatever, all of my deposits. Y'all seen my W-2s and everything like that, right? And so I was like, well, I don't know. Because I know that the majority of the people that wind up ending up on this show actually go and fill out a form. If you go over to CNBC's Make It and you look at these videos and you look in the description of the video, they basically give you a Google form to fill out if you're going to be open to be on the show. They tell you to, submit your information. Would you be willing to show your receipts, bank accounts, bank statements, and all of that stuff? I don't know how this would be beneficial. Would this bring more visibility to the platform? Would people then subscribe to the show? You know what I'm saying? She making $400,000 a year in California. I'm trying to figure out how that benefits her. When I look at this, yeah, we did have a bag chaser on there. I had to get on him as a result of that because he was over there fumbling the bag too. When I look at this, I'll be trying to figure out what is the benefit. But also, would you talk to a 34-year-old woman that lives in California making $400,000 a year? Let's continue.
I live in San Mateo, California.
They got her on there like the Wolf of Wall Street. Let me see something. She's the global head of product marketing at TikTok. Seemed like she would be making more than $400,000 a year, though. $400,000 a year got to just be like base pay and bonuses. Does she get equity into the company, but it's not a publicly traded company? I don't know. Anyways, let's continue.
One thing that I like about TikTok is it moves really fast. I sit between product and sales and users. Sometimes I go to market with a product. They wanted me to send them feedback from each day. And because I have engineers in Asia, a lot of them that were easily addressable were fixed overnight. That was the moment when I realized why TikTok has been growing so fast.
All right, so let's look at this. Her base salary is $320,000. She is scheduled to receive $80,000 worth of RSUs in 2024. Okay.
In 2023, my total compensation consisted of my base salary and sign-on bonus from TikTok.
Do y'all know what an RSU is?
Selling primary residence.
An RSU, for those of you that are not familiar, is called a restricted stock unit, okay? It's called a restricted stock unit. It's basically something that comes with restrictions or it comes with conditions that prevent you from being able to sell the stock. A lot of times people get it and they get shares in a company before they issue an IPO. Also, on top of that, it incentivizes you as an employee to continue to do the thing that's in the best interest of the company because you're restricted from selling it before certain times. And it could be a lot of different restrictions depending on how the company is set up. But you're basically incentivized to continue to do the best thing in the company for the future. And you're incentivized by that because your compensation is largely going to be based off of whether or not the company is thriving and they're doing incredibly well. So it's called restrictive stock units. So her total compensation is not based off of what she can actually spend. Her base salary, and I tell you this all the time, your salary is based off of what you negotiate, not what they offer you. Your base salary, 222, 223 income, 839. Okay, wait a minute. Ah, okay. I'm thinking that she was just like getting this crazy amount of money. No, she did a lot of other stuff. She sold her house. She got a severance package from Meta. She wound up finessing that and going over to TikTok. This woman is smart as hell. All right, so hold on. Let me deep dive into this real quick.
In 2023, my total compensation consisted of my base salary and sign-on bonus from TikTok, severance from Meta, selling primary residence I co.
She benefited. She benefited from a house sale. I'm trying to look at all of these little caveats after splitting profits with her ex-husband. So she got divorced. Oh, snaps. See, all right, let me remove this. Let me show y'all. See that down there at the bottom where it says her portion after splitting profits with her ex-husband. Oh, listen. It's the details matter. The details matter. She had to sell her home because she had to split the profits with her ex-husband. Kevin Samuels is rolling over in his grave right now. It's probably why she had to do a stock sale, did some creator income, got some rental income, so she got some rental properties. This feeds into the narrative. It feeds into the narrative. Is it hard for women and high-powered women to be able to maintain a relationship that comes along with this job that requires them to be modern women? That requires them to be modern women. Let's continue.
Owned with my ex-husband and landing some brand partnerships deals as a creator. I graduated in 3 years. I decided that I'm gonna take that route to save money.
Jesus. Talk about hustling. She said she donated her eggs 3 times just to help to pay for tuition. I got to give her credit. Let me give her a round of applause real quick for that one. Talk about hustling. Talk about hustling.
I think it was a good way to help fund my education, at the same time give children to families who wanted their own kids. I also worked at a Korean bar. I highly recommend that everyone should work as a server at a busy restaurant at least once in their life, especially in an early age, because it teaches you about reading people and servicing people, but also more importantly, you're thinking about your operational efficiency. So never go into the hall without bringing anything, or never go back to the kitchen without bringing anything.
Berkeley, graduated with a master's degree in business administration. She got a kid, apparently.
I started my career working at a few different startups, and then I joined TubeMogul, which later got acquired by Adobe. At TubeMogul, I made $40,000 in base and $6,000 in bonus. And then by the time I left the next year, I made $46,000 in base and $6,000 in bonus. And in 2014, when I moved over to Netflix as an associate, I think that was the biggest jump. So I went from 46 to 110,000, which is more than double.
Companies will always pay you to leave. I tell you that all the time. Around the 2 to 3 year mark, that's around the time that you want to start paying attention to, whether or not you want to make an adjustment, you want to move into a different direction, all of that. Because when you leave a company, and a lot of y'all are too loyal, you wind up getting stuck at a company for 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. Now, if you got another business and the company is just supplemental and you're not necessarily looking to move up in corporate America, then that's one thing. But y'all get too comfortable and y'all wind up staying in these companies for too long, and they not necessarily adding value into your life.
My biggest negotiation tip is to have counter offers.
Yep.
Always. When I was interviewing at Netflix, I actually was interviewing for another company in the morning, and I had gotten an offer on the spot because that VP loved me. What I was offered was about $80,000. So I already went into Netflix thinking, okay, if this doesn't work out, I would still double my compensation. That gave me a lot of confidence boost.
And I tell y'all this when I talk about interviewing like a king. It's all in the video inside of the Patreon. Go and watch the video on interviewing like a king. What gives you confidence is the ability to not need it. When you operating under duress, let's say, for example, you laid off, you need a job. You're going to look desperate. It's going to be easy for them to lowball you. A lot of times women don't even go into positions in a position of power. They go into it needing. They wait until they need something, and then they wonder why they don't make as much money as the person that's before you, because you got to be willing to walk away and you got to be willing to say no in order, at the negotiating table. When she comes in with two different offers, which you're not always going to have two different offers, but you don't have to wait until you leave a different company in order to go there. You got to be willing to say no, which will then, because if they're making you an offer here, they actually have room to go up to here. The salary range is all the way up here. And so you're not going to usually get the offer at the top of your salary range unless they really, 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 really want you, right? So that confidence allows for you to interview differently. It allows for you to negotiate differently. They got a budget for you. They want to keep you. And so it then becomes, a tug of war on that front and not whether or not you actually can get the job or not. A lot of y'all just trying to get the job. You're just happy to be there. Other people that's in a position of power, they negotiate their salary differently.
So I did well on the interview. And then when it was time to negotiate, my minimum was, I said 90,000, and they came back with 110K. When I left Netflix, I made 165,000, all cash. And then when I moved over to Facebook as an IC5, I made $150,000, and bonus was 15%.
She's dope. I like her. I like her sentiment.
I wasn't having a nice time at Meta. I didn't feel like I was really growing. I didn't feel like my leader was very invested in my growth. I got reached out by a recruiter from TikTok on LinkedIn, and I interviewed for the role. So when the big round of layoffs happened at Meta, it was perfect because I got laid off on Wednesday, got my offer from TikTok on Friday, and I got this TikTok role.
Look at her compensation from 2012 to 2023. She went from $46,000 a year to, and this is 11 years from graduation, $46,000 a year to basically $291,000 a year. And she's basically giving you the blueprint, and we talk about this all the time, on how it is that you can leverage. As soon as she got her layoff letter over from Meta, because they had overhired during the pandemic, and she had transitioned from Netflix, she had job hop from Netflix over to Meta, and then she wound up getting an offer at the same time from TikTok. She wasn't waiting. She wasn't saying, I'm going to take some time off. She basically leveraged the amount of money that she got, probably invested it, and then got the bag over there at TikTok also.
I was able to get the severance and start my new job.
Run that bag.
My relative feeling of being wealthy, I think it diminishes over time because I'm working with, directors who are making millions. And that moment from Too Mobile to Netflix, I think, was the biggest moment where I felt like I made it. And that's when I bought my first designer purse. I haven't felt that way since then. I try not to keep more than $10,000 in my checking account. I already maxed out my traditional IRA for this year, and I'm on track to max out 401k contribution this year.
All right. Her net worth, she got $466,000 in stocks and crypto, purchase price of a Lake Tahoe home, retirement investments, restricted stock units, cash. So she got $21,000 in cash. Smart. You don't want to have your money sitting in cash, in my opinion. 529 savings account is $10,000. Flexible spending accounts. FSAs is $8,500. So her mortgage is $250,000. So she has roughly $86,000 in equity into the home. She got a car that she owed $36,000 on, and then she has a student loan that she only owes $3,000 on. She looked like she's doing really, really good, and I'm sure she's probably still in her early 30s, late 20s. She killing the game.
I also contribute towards my son's 529, and anything else left, I put it into Robinhood to acquire index funds, individual stocks for interesting companies, and Bitcoin.
Hey, this is a stark difference from what Shane Tao was just talking about as far as the system not set up to see her win. Who is the system not setting up to see you win? You're a woman, you're a minority, so they gonna say that you're you're double handicapped or something like that. The system is literally set up for you. You the Oakland mayor. She's showing you that the system is set up for you. She got great timing. Married for 6 years, got divorced in 2000. Oh, so he was with you on the come up, and when you started getting that bag, you ain't want to share.
I was at a point where I would be fine even if my net worth starts at 0. I got divorced when my son was 2.5 years old, and it was actually because I read an article that if the kid's under 3, it actually leaves a pretty low impact in their life, and it peaks around 11 to 13. So I figured if I'm going to do it, I should just do it now. It was pretty cool.
This chick made a business decision when it came to her marriage. She said, listen, if I'm going to leave, I need to leave when my kid is little, not when my kid is big, like 11 to 13 years old. That's wild, bro.
Costly divorce in terms of lawyer fees. I was ordered to pay spousal support. And aside from that, my ex was managing all the finances. So actually, I was pretty oblivious to like personal investing, which sounds kind of funny because I'm the one with an MBA degree. I didn't know like how you even access 401k or how to buy a stock.
Turning into a modern woman
I knew that it was going to be very difficult financially. So at the beginning of the divorce, I opened 3 credit cards that had 0% APR. I think at max, I had about $100,000 in credit card debt.
From a divorce? $100,000 in credit card debt from a divorce? Nah. Listen. When you get to a certain point in life, it's just cheaper to keep her. When you get to a certain point in life, it's just cheaper to keep her, big dog.
All my money was tied up with real estate, and I couldn't really move money around that much. It's been a learning the past 2 years. I read a lot of books and a lot of courses. I feel pretty good about it now.
I was over there running up the bag. No credit. She bought a what? It's a lot of rain over here.
I bought a necklace to celebrate hitting the 100,000 followers milestone on Instagram.
All right, so let's look at this. Discretionary spending, $4,000. Insurance, $125. Gifts, $200. Student loan payment, $246. Man, she should just pay them student loans off. I wouldn't even be sitting on that. Food, $427. Subscriptions and memberships. Jesus, what kind of subscriptions and memberships she got? $487. Transportation, $1,200. $1,200 in transportation. I thought that her Tesla wasn't even that much. Savings and investments, $2,300. Childcare, $2,300. Yo, childcare is one of the biggest booming businesses. If I was going to start a business today, if I'm just a regular person and I'm trying to start a business, I'm going to center it around childcare. It's so much money in childcare. Housing and utilities, $2,700. So she spent $15,000 in March. Her budget is shot, bro. Just because she's smart with being able to move as far as getting a different job don't mean that she necessarily knows how to manage her money correctly.
My rent is $49.50. I know I've had a pretty unhealthy relationship with money growing up. Looking back, my father constantly talked about money, and I was pretty obsessed with money. I don't think I'm completely free of it now. It's something I think about constantly. I've been making conscious efforts to have healthier relationship with money. Also with Jackson, I like having adult-like discussions with him. Like if he's sitting in the car seat and he's like, that's a Porsche, like that's an expensive car. Like, he heard it from somewhere else. And I would be like, just because someone has a nice car doesn't mean that they're
Yeah, so it sounds like she's going 50-50 with whoever her man or girl is or whatever.
healthy, and cars are a depreciating asset.
It's 2 for $7.
Okay, let's do
You know
this.
what this is 2 for $7.
Okay, let's do this one.
Okay.
Nah.
He's probably not really understanding all of it, but I think the more I talk to him about it, I think the more he can grasp when he's ready.
Jackson, do you want to help mommy? Can you roll up your sleeves first?
My number one tip for
So
working
somebody is being a step baby daddy?
moms or working parents is give them chores. Even when we go to restaurants, if we need to get a meaning, he's so happy, gave us feeling anxious, but balances. A Netflix reality show called Love After Divorce, which ended last year. I was on a Netflix reality show called Love After Divorce, which ended last year. My social media account started to grow exponentially, which I'm really grateful for because I do love sharing my stories on how to become more effective employee and how to navigate corporate careers, because I do think the more knowledge we have, especially women of color or people in Korea who want to
Women of color. Ain't that crazy that now they call themselves women of color?
work for American companies, they're going to be more empowered to be better at their jobs and pursue their passion and also move up more quickly and make more money. And so that's something I'm very passionate about. So I want to see how far I can take this. You can do it all, and I want to be.
Shout out to her, man, running up that check and getting that bag. Let me give her a round of applause. But not based off of messing up the family and breaking up the family. I don't like that part.